everyone. Good morning. I hope you're doing well today, and I hope that your day is going great. So, today I have a really interesting bird that we are discussing about. So, I have been quite curious about white cranes for a while now. I know that they're culturally symbolic in China and in some other countries around Asia, but I never really searched up anything about them or learned about them, so I've really wanted to do this episode for a while. So before we dive into the episode, I would like you to do some breathing exercises with me so you can relax your mind and get ready to listen to the podcast. So if you're ready, breathe in. Hold for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and breathe out. Breathe in. Hold for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and breathe out. Last time here, breathe in. Hold for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and breathe out. I hope that this helped you relax and kind of let go of anything that worried you or held you back. So now that you're ready to go into the episode, I have the first fact here about the red-crowned crane. So the red-crowned crane is the most commonly depicted species in Chinese artwork and is considered the national animal of China. So it looks like the Chinese depict this particular species of crane in much of their embroidery, silks, and a lot of their artwork. It's very fascinating to see how they're depicted in kind of these forests, sometimes with humans and sometimes as goddesses. So speaking of goddesses, the crane is the second most important bird after the Feng Huang. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. I'm still working on my Chinese. So Feng Huang was a empress in China, and she is kind of depicted as this crane most of the time. So that's pretty cool. If you go into like the Oriental history or the Chinese history, there's a lot of kind of these symbolisms that you would see. I'm not an expert in that, but that's definitely piqued my interest in the past. It still does, because there's just a lot of nature-related symbolisms that they use. Moving on, the spiritual connection with the cranes. They are seen as divine birds that bridge the gap between heaven and the human world. Wow, this seems like the symbolism goes beyond the living world here. It kind of connects to the spirits, and cranes are seen as the bridge gap between the heaven and human world, which reminds me of the Avatar. If you've ever watched Avatar, The Last Airbender, it's one of my favorite series. I've watched it twice. If you've ever watched that, the Avatar kind of serves as the gap between the human world and the spirit world. So I think in the animal world, the crane is the avatar. Now let's move on to our next cool fact. In Taoist traditions, cranes are used as mounts by immortals, and some Taoist robes are referred to as crane robes. Oh, so if I had mentioned clothing before, this is going deeper into clothing. Moving on to our next fact. The Dance of the White Cranes. A dance of the white cranes is a traditional Chinese dance that dates back to the 500 BC. It looks like they kind of depict these cranes as in different poses, which look like they're kind of performing this dance, and I don't know if the people try to mimic it. I think that's how they do it, but I definitely see a lot of pictures of cranes in different poses, which are depicted beautifully. So that's something to note. Moving on to more general facts. White cranes are actually kind of endangered, and there are a bunch of conservation efforts in China. So the black-necked crane, an alpine species endemic to the Qinghai Zhejiang Plateau. I think that's definitely not how it's pronounced, but I tried my best there. So yeah, in that plateau, they have seen a population rebound due to China's biodiversity conservation efforts. It makes sense why they want to conserve the cranes, because they definitely symbolize a lot of good things like longevity, wisdom, and good fortune. So they definitely want to keep those animals safe. So this is also doing something good for the environment. So I'm glad that they're doing this. I talked about cranes being endangered. So going deep into that, the red-crowned crane is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List, with a small population of over 1,830 birds in the wild. Wow, that is pretty low compared to other birds, but I wish that many people come forward to kind of conserve these cranes, because they're definitely cool animals. There's definitely much more to them than just a cultural symbolism and a traditional kind of significance. There's definitely much more ecological importance to them as well. I feel like every single animal has its own part in this ecosystem, and every animal, even the tiniest bacteria, is important. So yeah, I definitely feel sorry for these cranes, but I'm also glad that efforts are being made to conserve them. Their ecological protection efforts have led to the recovery of several rare and endangered species, including the black-necked crane. So it seems like these sanctuaries have kind of attracted other cranes as well. So now they're not only doing a favor to their national bird, but also to other species of cranes, such as the black-necked crane. Maybe I'll cover that in another episode, guys. I'm sure that they have definitely more different characteristics than the red-capped crane, or the red-crowned crane. So I'll probably cover that in another episode. But it's definitely nice to see that other crane species are also coming in. Moving on to more general facts about the red-crowned crane. The size of a red-crowned crane is up to 5 feet. Their height is up to 5 feet, and their wingspan is up to 8 feet. Wow, that is a pretty tall bird there. And also, last episode we covered the snowy owl, and we saw that its wingspan was about 5 feet. And now we see the crane's wingspan kind of surpasses it, and it's definitely like much larger than the owl's wingspan. But if you've ever seen a crane kind of fly, you would kind of make out that their wings are much bigger than their body or their head. So moving on to their appearance, they're mostly white with black feathers on the tips of their wings and necks. They have a red patch on their heads, which is actually exposed skin. Oh, I totally did not know that. I thought the red skin was actually like feathers, but it turns out it's exposed skin. But these birds, they kind of camouflage in the snow a lot because they have these black necks and black like feathers and just like a white body, like a pure white body. So they kind of camouflage with the snow, but their red head actually sticks out a lot. So they're pretty interesting, and whenever they're depicted in paintings, they're usually depicted with pine trees. I don't know why they're associated with pine trees, but probably there's a significant association or like a symbol in China for that. So anyways, moving on, they're omnivores and they eat insects, fish, amphibians, small mammals, reeds, grasses, and other plants. So sometimes they eat insects and fish, which is interesting. I've never seen a red-crowned crane kind of catch fish or insects because I feel like they're another kind of mysterious bird. They're definitely important for Chinese people, and they probably look at them or see them a lot of times because they are found in China a lot. But I've never seen them, and I don't know anyone who's seen them, so I feel like they're a little bit of a mystery, which makes them very fascinating. So anyways, their habitat is the wetlands, marshes, and agricultural fields. So they kind of live in these marshes, which are like little ponds or lakes filled with not very deep lakes and filled with a lot of plants, which kind of makes sense because fish kind of come there and feed, so it makes it easier for these cranes, I assume, to catch it. That's what I think. That's why I think they're kind of living in wetlands and marshes. But I don't know why they're living in agricultural fields though, because I don't know what they find there. Maybe plants, maybe grasses, I don't know. So anyways, their lifespan, they can live up to 30 years, while in captivity, they can live up to 50 years. Wow, that is a significantly long time. 30 years is like very long for a bird, but I'm happy that they can live that long though. And it looks like in captivity their lifespan increases, which makes sense because food availability is different, and their predators. I don't know what their predators are. The predators include dogs, foxes, raccoon dogs, badgers, martins, crows, and ravens. That's interesting. Dogs eat cranes. I did not know that. And foxes, wow. That's pretty very surprising actually, because these cranes are pretty big birds, and I would assume dogs would have a very hard time catching these cranes. But anyways, coming back to our lifespan fact. Yeah, so predators are not very active when they're in captivity. So they would have better conditions to kind of increase their lifespan, I would assume. So for reproduction, they breed from April to May, and females lay up to 2 eggs. Sorry guys, I just drank some green tea there. I usually drink a lot of green tea. If you've seen me mention in other episodes, it's pretty common for me to do that. So anyways, it looks like these birds are spring birds. They mostly breed during spring. Those are beautiful months. That's when the cherry blossoms bloom. I would love to paint like a red-crowned crane with a cherry blossom kind of background. Maybe that's something for my art channel, guys. And if you've not checked that out yet, it's Ruthie_art. It's I just post some works that I do with watercolor and such. So anyways, getting a little off of track there. So coming back to our facts. It looks like they are known for their elaborate courtship displays, which includes leaping, bowing, and flapping their wings. If you've listened to the hummingbird episode, we saw that they have some interesting courtship dances, but these cranes are much different because they leap, they bow, and they flap their wings. So I've never seen a crane kind of leap. I've only seen them walk or like kind of be perched on something like a branch or something, but I didn't know that cranes could leap. Maybe they only do it in front of mates. I don't know. And bowing, that kind of makes sense because in Asian cultures, sometimes people bow to show respect, and maybe they kind of picked it up from those people. I don't know, or maybe the people picked it up from the cranes. The cranes kind of inspired the people to do their dances and also bow. Animals are very inspiring. That would make total sense. Yeah. And also it looks like they have very high-pitched calls, and their calls can actually vary in tone, because it looks like their call is kind of very unique. I've never heard a crane call, but I've definitely seen them in documentaries, and it's so fascinating to hear them. They definitely have the singer's voice there. So yeah, that would be a nice world where cranes would be singers. Anyways, it looks like in Japan as well, they're considered as a sacred bird and are seen as a sign of fidelity in marriage. I actually don't know what fidelity means. Let me just search that up right now. So it turns out it means faithfulness to obligations, duties, or observances. So it kind of symbolizes that in Japan. And also in Japan, they have the White Heron dance, the Shirasagi no Mai, and it's a traditional dance performance held annually at the Sensoji Temple in Tokyo. Wow, that's pretty cool. So this dance dates back to the Heian period, featuring dancers wearing white heron costumes, and is performed to purify the spirits and drive out the plague. It looks like even in China, there's another dance that I mentioned earlier. And in Japan, there's this dance, the White Heron dance. Looks like these cranes are really inspiring these people. They're doing a good job on that. Anyways, guys, moving on to more general facts. We have crane migration. So they migrate to different areas during the winter, which makes sense because they would need to get more food. They would need to find warmer climates. So I don't know where they migrate, but maybe you can look that up, where cranes migrate. So you can maybe after this episode go on and do your own research. So moving on to crane chicks. They fledge at around 95 days old, and they can fly by autumn. So it looks like these they lay their eggs when during the spring, and then the fledglings kind of are ready by the time autumn comes, and they can fly away and be free. Anyways, guys, that was my last fact. Oh, sorry, I have another one. Sorry. So it looks like these cranes build their nests on wet ground or in shallow water. Well, that's very unique because not many birds build their nests in water. I don't know why they do that. Maybe to get away from predators, or maybe they can access their nests better. I have no idea, but it's definitely very interesting to see that they build their nests in water and in sometimes wet ground. Maybe they just need that moisture to raise their chicks. I have no idea, but that's very cool. Anyways, guys, that's my last fact there officially. And it's around midnight here, so I'm pretty tired. I apologize if this episode was a little droopy, but definitely had some fun kind of looking at all these facts about cranes. That they're pretty cool animals, so if you have time, you should go online and check them out maybe. But I hope you enjoy this episode, and stay tuned for more. This is only the 6th episode of the podcast, so I'm hoping to make more in the future. So if you guys want to leave a review, I would be really happy. And if you want to message me on Instagram about any of these facts, or if you have anything new that you think I would like to know, my Instagram username is early_bird_weekly_podcast. So feel free to do either of those things. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you listen to all of my other ones, and I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye, guys.